Long before satellites, submarines, or sonar, the oceans were a place of myth, fear, and divine power. To the earliest humans, the sea was an unknowable world, a boundary between life and death, between reality and the supernatural. The earliest maritime civilizations, the Mesopotamians, Egyptians, and later the Minoans revered the sea not just as a resource, but as a realm ruled by gods and monsters. Ancient Mesopotamian tablets speak of Enki, the god of the subterranean freshwater sea, and terrifying sea beasts that protected the edges of the world. In Egyptian lore, the sun god Ra had to sail through the underworld's watery depths, fighting the monstrous serpent Apophis to bring light to each new day, as early navigators pushed their reed boats farther into open waters. Strange phenomena began to appear in oral traditions: glowing tides, vanishing islands, and leviathan-like creatures lurking in the deep. These tales laid the groundwork for the first marine mythologies. In Greece, Homer's Odyssey captured an early catalog of oceanic mystery, the sirens luring sailors to their doom, Charybdis, the whirlpool demon, and Scylla, the many-headed monster, devouring men alive. While these stories entertained, they also reflected very real fears: storms, underwater currents, and the terrifying unpredictability of the sea. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, Polynesian navigators were traversing vast stretches of the Pacific guided only by stars, wave patterns, and memory. Their chants and myths spoke of massive underwater spirits and guardians of the deep, passed down through generations to explain the strange silences and shadows beneath the waves. And then there was the legend that would haunt the Western world for millennia: the lost city of Atlantis. Introduced by Plato around 360 BCE, Atlantis was described as a great naval power that sank beneath the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. Was it an allegory, a distortion of an ancient cataclysm, or a forgotten civilization swallowed whole by the sea? Even today, that mystery lingers. Ancient shipwrecks found in the Black Sea, with their cargoes eerily preserved, hint at how little we know of early oceanic voyages and how many vanished without a trace. As empires rose, so did oceanic exploration, and with it, new accounts of the strange and the terrifying beneath the surface. The Roman Empire expanded across the Mediterranean, launching fleets across Europe, Africa, and into the British Isles. Roman naturalists like Pliny the Elder recorded sightings of monstrous fish, serpents longer than 10 men, and even glowing oceans phenomena that baffled the brightest minds of the time. Farther north, Viking seafarers etched tales of the Kraken into Nordic lore, a beast so massive it could be mistaken for an island, dragging entire ships into the icy depths. These accounts, passed down in sagas, were filled with storm-born demons, underwater spirits, and ghostly ships. For them, the ocean was alive and watching. Meanwhile, Arab cartographers and sailors, operating from ports like Basra and Muscat during the Islamic Golden Age, contributed to our understanding of ocean currents and geography. Yet even in their advanced charts there were signs of fear: sea monsters drawn at the edges of maps, and accounts of lands cursed by the sea that swallowed entire fleets. Scholars like Al-Idrisi described mysterious lights under the water and strange islands that vanished upon approach. In Asia, Chinese dynasties sent great fleets under the command of Admiral Zhen He in the 15th century. His logs and the myths surrounding them mention massive sea snakes and whirlpools powerful enough to tear apart ships. Some believe these stories may be exaggerated, but others suggest they're grounded in real encounters with giant squid, rogue waves, or seismic ocean events. In Europe, the medieval period gave rise to a new form of mapping, the Mappa Mundi, adorned with dragons, sea serpents, and demonic beings beyond the known coasts. These weren't merely decorations. They were warnings. The seas during this time were largely uncharted, and sailors often relied on superstition as much as compass or sail. Tales of entire fleets vanishing into fog, ghost ships appearing out of nowhere. And storms that came with no warning were common and believed to be the work of forces far beyond human understanding. It was also during this time that mariners began reporting phantom islands, places that appeared on maps for centuries, yet were never found again. Names like Hybrasil, Antilia, and the Isle of Demons became infamous among sailors, lands said to be rich, magical, and cursed, existing just on the edge of reality, despite advances in shipbuilding and navigation. Humanity's grip on the sea remained tenuous, and beneath that rolling blue surface, the mysteries only grew deeper. The 16th to 18th centuries marked a turning point in human history. With the rise of European empires, the oceans transformed from barriers into bridges for global conquest. But as explorers set sail into uncharted waters, the mysteries of the deep became more terrifying than ever. The fleets of Spain, Portugal, and later England, France, and the Netherlands ventured farther than any civilization before them. Yet with each voyage came fresh tales of horror and wonder, encounters that defied science and terrified even the most seasoned sailors. The legendary Bermuda Triangle, a region that would later gain infamy, had its origins in this era. Spanish galleons began vanishing in the Atlantic between Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and Miami. Some claimed they were taken by angry gods, others by mysterious forces under the sea. Sailors described seeing ships pulled violently underwater without warning. In 1492, even Christopher Columbus recorded strange compass readings and dancing lights beneath the waves as he crossed the Sargasso Sea. And then there were the Phantom Islands. Islands like Thule, Antilia, and St. Brendan's Island would appear on maps only to vanish by the next expedition. Were they tricks of light, mirages, or did they once exist in sink beneath the ocean, much like Atlantis? Perhaps most terrifying of all were the stories of ghost ships. One of the most enduring legends is that of the Flying Dutchman, a 17th century vessel doomed to roam the seas forever. Sailors swore they saw it glowing through fog or lightning, its ghostly crew waving silently from its cursed decks. Some even believed that seeing the ship was a death omen. Not all mysteries involve the supernatural. As maritime empires grew, dozens of ships were lost, but no wreckage or survivors were ever found. One famous example, the San Telmo, a Spanish ship that vanished near Antarctica in 1819. Some suggest it may have been the first humans to set foot on the continent. But others believe something darker happened in the ice. Sea monsters also remained an obsession. French and British sailors reported entire shoals rising beneath them, only to discover massive, tentacled creatures emerging from the depths, likely giant squids, but described as dragons or demons in logs. As science tried to classify the oceans, fear and myth persisted. The deeper humans ventured, the clearer it became. The sea kept its secrets and punished those who dared intrude. The 19th century ushered in a wave of industrial progress and scientific curiosity. For the first time, humans attempted to map and understand the seafloor with precision. But instead of answers, they often uncovered more questions and stranger mysteries. The turning point came with the HMS Challenger expedition 1872 to 1876. The first true scientific voyage into the deep. It revolutionized oceanography, discovering over 4,000 new species and proving that life could exist in the darkest, coldest depths. But even the Challenger encountered the inexplicable, sudden, unexplainable temperature shifts, deep underwater noises with no known origin, and strange bioluminescent creatures that glowed with colors never seen on land. Another obsession of the era was shipwrecks. Without explanation, the Mary Celeste, discovered adrift in 1872 with no crew but all supplies intact, became one of history's most chilling maritime enigmas. Theories ranged from mutiny to sea monsters to underwater vortexes, but no definitive answer ever emerged. Meanwhile, Across the Atlantic, rumors swirled of underwater cities, entire structures glimpsed below the waves off the coasts of India, Japan, and the Caribbean. Some were dismissed as coral formations. Others remain unexplained even today. Divers reported steps, walls, roads that seemed carved, not formed. This period also saw an increase in reports of unexplained sounds from the ocean. These early accounts long before modern sonar described loud groaning, pulsing, or banging noises that echoed for miles with no source visible above or below. Sailors began to whisper of giant sea creatures that might be intelligent, or even territorial. Perhaps most curious were the black water events, entire regions of the ocean where the surface turned ink dark in broad daylight, accompanied by magnetic interference and crew hallucinations. One incident near Indonesia left an entire crew unconscious, with no injury or illness. After sailing through a thick black liquid fog, despite growing knowledge and improved ships, the ocean remained a realm where physics bent, logic failed, and nature blurred with the supernatural. By the dawn of the 20th century, the world believed it had tamed nature, but the ocean, dark, vast, and still largely unexplored, reminded us that some forces are beyond control. The 20th century was the age of machines, steel hulls, nuclear power, and sonar. Mankind believed it had finally mastered the oceans. But just as our technology pierced the depths, it began uncovering secrets that defied belief and sparked some of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern maritime history. At the dawn of the century, the oceans were already claiming legends. In 1912, the RMS Titanic, the most advanced ship of its time, vanished beneath the Atlantic after striking an iceberg. But it wasn't the sinking alone that haunted people. Survivors reported strange lights beneath the surface before impact, and several ships nearby claimed to have received distress calls before the collision occurred, as if the ship knew its fate. The Titanic's final transmission remains a subject of paranormal theorizing to this day. In the decades that followed, World War I and II would bring thousands of ships to the deep, many with no known resting place. Some simply vanished. The case of the USS Cyclops, a 542-foot Navy cargo ship, stunned the world in 1918. It disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle with 306 men aboard. The largest non-combat loss of life in U.S. Navy history, and has never been found. No debris, no signal, nothing. But perhaps the most chilling mystery of the 20th century lies in sound. In 1997, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, detected a powerful, ultra-low frequency underwater noise in the Pacific. It became known as the bloop. At over 3,000 miles away from recording stations, it was so loud it could not have come from any known sea creature or man-made source. Even more disturbing, it resembled the audio profile of a living organism, but one many times larger than a blue whale. And then it stopped. It has never been heard again. Similar unexplained underwater sounds followed. Julia slowed down and upsweep, each defying explanation, each recorded from remote regions of the deep. During the Cold War, submarine espionage brought about a new kind of fear. Nuclear-powered subs, like the USS Thresher 1963 and Soviet K-2-129 1968, vanished in deep waters under mysterious conditions. Many believe that sonar picked up unknown objects before both vessels were lost. Crews aboard other submarines reported chasing strange, metallic pings or being stalked by fast-moving sonar shadows that changed direction and ways. No known technology could. Then there are the deep-sea trenches, especially the Mariana Trench, Earth's deepest known point. In 1960, the Bathyscaphe Trias descended into the trench's Challenger Deep, at 35,800 feet. The crew heard strange, metallic noises and observed movement in pitch black. What could survive such crushing pressure? Years later, deep diving, drones would detect sudden, unexplainable spikes in temperature and masses that moved just out of visual range. Even the best minds of the time were left to guess unknown species, lost civilizations, or something not of this earth. By century's end, one thing was clear. As our machines advanced, so too did the ocean's ability to terrify us. The 21st century brought the most powerful submarines, deepest drones, and satellite imaging, but still, the deep ocean refuses to yield its darkest secrets. If anything, the mysteries have become more chilling, and more advanced modern explorers have plunged deeper than ever before using remotely operated vehicles or OVs, capturing never-before-seen footage of bioluminescent predators, ancient sunken ruins, and life forms that glow, liquefy, or vanish before the camera's eye. But what they've found is far from comforting: unidentified. Submerged objects, USOs, have now entered mainstream discussion. In 2020, the U.S. Navy released videos of fast-moving objects that enter and exit the U.S. ocean without making a splash. These videos, filmed by military-grade sensors, defy all laws of physics, suggesting aerial vehicles capable of underwater travel. Are they experimental tech, extraterrestrial, or something ancient and hidden beneath? Then came the mysterious disappearances. In 2013, the MV Lybov Orlova, a cruise ship abandoned at sea, was last tracked drifting toward Europe only to vanish entirely. With no radio, no crew, and no distress signal, it became known as the ghost ship full of rats. Despite global tracking systems, it was never recovered. Even more bizarre, entire regions of the ocean have shown signs of deep seismic activity without tectonic cause. Some scientists believe methane explosions beneath the seafloor could explain sudden vanishing ships, while others suggest the presence of massive hollow pockets under the Earth's crust, reachable only through oceanic trenches. In 2011, researchers in the Baltic Sea discovered a formation that stumped geologists: a massive, symmetrical, metallic-looking object buried beneath the seafloor. Dubbed the Baltic Sea Anomaly, sonar images show perfect 90-degree angles and what looks like a ramp. Despite several dives, it remains unexplained. Some say it's a crash UFO, others a forgotten Nazi relic. The truth: still unknown. We've also discovered underwater rivers, saltwater lakes beneath the sea, and methane craters larger than skyscrapers forming overnight and swallowing entire fishing zones. Perhaps it's the most sobering statistic: more than 80% of our ocean remains completely unmapped, unexplored, and unseen by human eyes, and governments aren't rushing to change that. Many deep-sea missions are halted, classified, or go dark without explanation. Some speculate that what's found in the deep isn't for the public to know. Today, with every new discovery, we inch closer to understanding the deep ocean, but every revelation seems to bring 1,000 new questions. What's lurking in the black void below? Why does the sea behave differently in certain areas? And why, after thousands of years, do we still feel like we're being watched? After thousands of years of oceanic exploration, from reed boats to nuclear submarines, from sailor myths to high-tech drones, the ocean still whispers secrets we cannot decode. And some of its most bizarre phenomena remain utterly unexplained. Perhaps deliberately so. At the heart of these mysteries are the black smokers, deep-sea hydrothermal vents that spew boiling water from beneath Earth's crust, yet host life forms that thrive in complete darkness and toxic conditions. How do creatures live in places without sunlight, without oxygen, and with temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Celsius? Scientists once believed life needed the sun, but here, life rewrites the rulebook. Could these alien ecosystems hint at life elsewhere, in the universe, or something older than Earth itself? Then there's the theory of the hollow ocean floor, a fringe but increasingly intriguing idea suggesting that enormous subterranean caverns exist beneath Earth's crust, accessible only via ocean trenches. Some deep-sea expeditions have reported seismic readings that bounce off empty space, deep below. Could ancient unknown chambers lie beneath the seabed? If so, what's inside them? Sightings of the mysterious Ningen in the southern oceans have added to the terror. Supposed humanoid creature, described by Japanese whalers and sailors, is pale white, up to 100 feet long, and vaguely human in shape, with arms, a face, and tail. Though dismissed by skeptics as a hoax, thermal satellite images and sonar data collected by fishing trawlers in Antarctic waters have only deepened the legend. Is Ningen a creature lost to time, or something deliberately hidden in the harshest environment on Earth? In the Baltic Sea, that strange symmetrical anomaly remains untouched. Every expedition ends in failure. Technology malfunctions. Divers grow disoriented, and no one has yet penetrated the object's core. Meanwhile, private corporations and governments alike refuse to fund further research. We also can't forget the chilling underwater lights seen by deep-sea pilots. Some describe enormous pulses of bioluminescence, not from jellyfish or algae, but from massive structured patterns stretching across miles of ocean floor. Others claim to have seen beacons, vertical columns of light, rising hundreds of feet, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. And what about the missing sounds? The bloop slowed down, Julia. All massive underwater sounds detected once, never heard again. The odds of a natural explanation decrease with each year of silence. What made those sounds, and why did it stop? But perhaps the most chilling reality of all is that we know less about our own ocean than we do about outer space, while we've mapped Mars and the Moon in high resolution. Over 80% of the seafloor remains uncharted. And some argue this is intentional. Explorers report being turned away by naval vessels in restricted ocean zones. Oceanographers complain of red tape, denied permits, and shadowy figures purchasing sonar data. What are we not supposed to find? Ancient ruins? Alien structures? Colossal creatures too terrifying to confront. In every age, the ocean has mirrored our fears. In ancient times, it was the domain of gods and monsters. In the medieval era, it housed dragons and demons. In modern times, it challenges science, sanity, and sovereignty, despite our satellites and science. The ocean holds its mysteries close, and perhaps that's what makes it most terrifying of all, the possibility that some mysteries don't want to be solved.